Welcome on into a special episode of the Utah Blockcast. I'm Steve Bartle, Utah insider for KSL Sports. On today's episode, I shouldn't say on today's episode because there's a couple episodes now with this one dropping. This is a special episode. So on this episode, this is a conversation with Utah forward Keanu Dawes. And we chatted for about 15 to 20 minutes, just kind of breaking down what the last year has been like, his excitement for the upcoming season, and just some thoughts on the new basketball team around him. It's an entirely new program, an entirely new environment, and I think Keanu shared a lot of interesting insights into what it's been like the last couple months, and so it was really good to chop it up with Keanu for a few minutes. And I'm hoping to make this a pretty consistent thing. Hearing from members of the new Runnin Utes basketball program pretty consistently, weekly, hopefully, and getting to know some of these new faces. So, but obviously, had to start with the guy returning from last year, a guy that's going to be pretty important for Utah's success this year, and that's Keanu. So, I think this was really really good to hear from him. And so yeah, but before that, since we're talking basketball, I think it's worth noting that Utah will also be hosting an official visitor. I believe this is their first one of the 2026 cycle. They have a couple others scheduled, but this is their first official visitor this weekend. They'll be welcoming Styles Clemens from Virginia. He's part of the OTE circuit, which is pretty exciting. He's a dynamic athlete. When you watch his film, when you watch some of the clips about him, I believe he's got over a 40-inch vertical. He's a 6'2" guard. Really well built and athletic. And I think he's the type that Utah is sort of honed in on in terms of what they want in their backcourt. They want these athletic types, and so Utah is going to be hosting him for an official visit this weekend. Big opportunity for Utah to make an impression, to land their first commitment of the cycle, which is always exciting. So we'll see what happens there. But without further ado, let's get to my conversation with Keanu Dawes. And joining me on the Utah Blockcast, special guest, Utah Runnin Ute, big man, versatile forward, Keanu Dawes. Keanu, man, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you taking some time. Excited to chat, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So, Keanu, it's been a wild off season, and we'll talk all about it. But I want to go back to just kind of your experience that first year in the program. So coming, transferring here from Rice and going through your first year at Utah and in the Big 12. What was that experience like for you? And what do you feel? Where do you feel like you've grown, and how you feel you've adapted to this new environment?
It was definitely a good experience. It was a learning experience, not just in the basketball aspect, but I feel like I learned a lot about myself as a person, as a man, and then just being a part of the Utah program. Obviously coming back, that's something I wanted to do. So just be able to have that first year under my belt was really fun.
And obviously that's a big thing. And do you feel there was a moment last year where it started to click? For me, that was that TCU game on the road where it seemed like, okay, he settled in. Was there a moment like that for you last year?
Yeah, the TCU game was definitely one of those games, but I feel like I didn't really start to string a consistent string of games together to the last 6 games of the year. I think it was the Arizona game. I think that was whenever I feel like it really started to click and I could put a bunch of good games together.
Yeah, great, man. That's awesome. And obviously, we know how the season went, and we don't need to dive too much into that. There was a coaching change, and Craig Smith was let go, and Utah brought in Alex Jensen. And I would just be curious, when he was hired, what were those first couple of weeks like? Because there was a lot kind of up in the air, not only for Utah but for yourself as well. You entered the portal, but what were those first couple weeks like with Alex hired and in place, and from conversations and just sort of your thought process during that time period?
Yeah, no, it was good, but it was hard at the same time because obviously he was still with the Dallas Mavericks, so he was coming back and forth to Utah, going back to Dallas, traveling to where they play. So like building that relationship with him was a little bit challenging, but I think I had a good understanding of it, and he also had a good understanding of like my process because I was studying into the portal, and you got to hear other things out. Like at the end of the day, this is where I wanted to be, so I was able to be understanding of that. And then for my birthday, actually, I went down to L.A. and they played the Clippers. Yeah, they played. Yeah, they played the Clippers. The Mavericks played the Clippers. So I think that was shortly after I committed, or like right before I committed again. So I was able to just have that, like, even though it wasn't a lot of time together, just a good bonding moment.
That's awesome. Was there like a something he shared with you, or just what was it that led to your recommitment?
It was it was I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was either the day before, like I officially took my name out of the portal. Yeah, it was the night before I officially took my name out of the portal, and I came in. We had a meeting, just like a normal meeting, trying to figure out what I'm
Mhm.
going to do. And then, like, they kind of said, just think about it. And what are you going to do? Like, they kind of wanted to answer on that day. Like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then that same night,
Yeah.
they showed me like this presentation that they were going to do, like the pro plan for each individual player, and just like how they're trying to run it like an NBA level thing. And obviously, that's where I want to go. So at that point, I just felt like it was a no brainer.
Love it, dude. And I think that's going to be a big thing for this staff is, their vision and ability to develop individual players given their experience in the NBA. So, you decided to come back, and I think that was the big thing for Utah to get you back because of how you sort of emerged last year. That was a big thing, I think, for Utah, and I think that's what a lot of people sort of view you as kind of a key piece. But you're back in the fold, and then the staff, they got active, got after it on the recruiting trail, and started recruiting players. I'd be curious, Keanu, just how involved were you? How active were you in terms of developing relationships with the guys that they would bring in, and just what were your thoughts, as guys started to commit and the roster started to come together?
Yeah. No, honestly, I wasn't like super involved with the
Hmm.
decision process of like who to bring in. Like obviously they would talk and like let me know who's like coming on visits and stuff, but like it wasn't. I didn't really have that. But as we started to get guys, you can tell that it's just each guy brought something different, something special to the table. And I think the one thing we all have in common is that we enjoy playing basketball. And you can just tell based off like the short. I mean, it's not really a short amount of time, 2-3 months that we've been together now. But
Yeah.
like no, we just enjoy playing basketball. And I think that's the biggest thing for us this year.
Man, it's been interesting following, all the new guys, and there are a lot of late nights in the practice facility. A lot of guys posting pictures and stuff. Just what's that been like, with guys that just always seem to be playing ball and enjoy playing ball, like you said.
Now it's good. It's a good culture to have, not only to enjoy playing basketball, but to have that competitive side whenever we actually do play basketball against each other. Whether it's some people play one on one before practice. Sometimes we'll play pickup. Sometimes obviously we go live, but it's just competitive at the end of the day. And obviously people are in the gym, so like I like to be in the gym by myself because I get to
Hmm.
control the music. But then you got to like work around with the schedule. So like it's a struggle, but it's also a good thing because it shows how many people actually want to play basketball. I want to get better.
Hmm. Love that, dude. That's great. And with this off season, it's a big one for you because, like I said earlier, I think a lot of people view you as sort of, I don't want to say the centerpiece of this roster, but obviously you're going to be a pretty prominent presence, for Utah moving forward because of what you did last year. And I think for a lot of fans, there's a lot of excitement to have you back this season. So for you, what has your mindset been like this offseason? Where do you feel like you've sort of laid focus, in terms of your development, and where do you feel like you've gained the most sort of confidence in your game this offseason?
I think confidence wise, just in general, just confidence, whether that shooting or
Yeah.
be able to make a play with the ball in my hand, come off screen, make a read or whatever. And that kind of goes into, what I work on in the off season. Like I just want to be the most complete player I can be. Just, work on that with this offense, take pride in being able to guard the center if I need to, and I need to play the five, or being able to guard the two or three or guard the other team's best player. to really just being an all around player. And my focus this summer was just being on a pro because obviously, or not being on a pro, but being a pro because that's the end goal is to be in the NBA. And being a pro doesn't just mean being a basketball player. It means taking care of your body. It means taking care of commitments you have off the court. It means if you have something going on off the court, it doesn't take away what's going on actually on the court. So just being the best version of myself and being a pro.
I'd be curious. You bring that up. Is that been a an emphasis from this staff, given their background, obviously coming from the NBA, is operating like a pro in the off season and that sort of stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because like they might not have to say be a pro, but I think everybody here honestly wants to be a pro. And we have the pro staff, so if you're a player and you know where you want to go, and obviously the people who've already been there, you have no choice but to listen to them, or that would be dumb on your end. So they just they have a lot of focus on not only taking care of what you need to do in the basketball court, but like being on time to things. If you have you got to go get treatment, don't just push it off because you don't want to do it. So
Right.
yeah, they talk about basketball a lot, but it's also so much more that goes into being a pro, being an NBA player than just basketball.
Yeah, no, and so with that, being a pro, and you guys, we talked about it a little bit, but you've spent a lot of time with the guys now, right? Practicing and just spending time together in the facility, getting up shots and all that sort of stuff. Now that you've had, a good amount of time with this squad, like you said, a couple months, how do you feel like the chemistry has come together? And I'd be curious too to hear how competitive things have been in practice.
Yeah. First off, the chemistry is really good, and I felt that from the first week we're on campus. And I think it helped because a lot of people already knew each other coming in. Like I necessarily didn't really know anybody, but a lot of the new players obviously knew each other coming in. And then you just have a good group of people that blend in well together. And yesterday we actually played 2K Pro-Am or 2K Rec together for the first time. And we won
Oh,
like
there you go.
five games. And so I guess it's a small thing just playing video games, but I think that can go a long way. And it's virtual basketball, but at the end of the day, you're still playing basketball with each other. So you can see how someone plays, how someone reacts to when things go wrong, when things go right, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
super fun. And then just competitive wise, it's been crazy. Like we during the summer, we didn't really do a ton of live stuff. So I think everybody's like really antsy to, actually play and compete. So we start practice off by doing like shell drill and transition stuff. And like we're all working hard at that and obviously going full speed trying to be the best at that. But then whenever it's live stuff, it's a whole nother gear that people kick into. Like the emotions start coming into play, and nobody wants to lose, and sometimes people don't call fouls and stuff, and so that makes people more play harder for that. So it's good chemistry, good competitive desire. It's been good.
How how are the layup lines? Like how active are those layup lines with the dunks and all that? Like I'd be curious who's impressed you most in the layup line.
Everybody, I mean, obviously Jakai got
Yeah.
you got things that I haven't really seen before. But now everybody, honestly, our whole team is really athletic. Like we got point guards that can do dunks as if they were 6'8". We got people doing hardest dunks in the world. You got big men walk up East Bay. So it's definitely
Oh
different.
wow. That's exciting. So obviously, for us outside of the program, there's a lot to learn about, what this new team, what this new program under Alex is going to be like. Obviously, a lot of fans are excited for Alex because of what he did as a player here at Utah, but I think there's a lot of intrigue and interest and even mystery around what Alex is going to do, as a coach. And then we've also got to learn, all these new faces and that. And so, with that, I would just be curious if you had to share one thing about this new staff or about this new group of players to the fans to, just kind of share something there. What would that be if you could share one thing about this new program?
If I could share one thing is that I think regardless of what happens, obviously you want to win every game.
Yeah.
That's going to be the goal is to win every game, do something special that nobody's really done before. But like regardless of what happens, it's going to be fun and we're going to make people proud because of the way we compete, how much we want to win, how fast we play, how versatile we are. So like at the end of the day, we're gonna compete, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna win a lot of games.
Love that. And then, just last one here, there's a lot of excitement for the fan base to see this, new program and to see you guys in action, to see the layup line
Sure.
and all of that. There's just so much excitement. How excited are you and how excited are the guys to actually get to work and show people what this team is going to be about?
hmm I'm personally very excited because I feel like it's this culture, this type of chemistry program we have, everything that's coming into place isn't something I've really been a part of my
Yeah.
first 2 years of college. Like now that I'm not old or anything, but like I'm a little bit older. I've been through 2 years of college, so I can see things that are different from my freshman year to my sophomore year to junior year. And I just think the level of intensity and the level of focus and the level of desire to not only succeed personally, but I think as a whole, and everybody wants each other to succeed. I haven't really been around that, so that's exciting for me. And I think everybody's just excited to be a part of something special too. Like we got people coming from high majors, we got people coming from
Yeah.
low majors, we got people coming from high school, prep school, all over. And I just think it's new for everybody. Even though I return, it's new for me, new team, new coaches, and it's just something new. And I think everybody has the same goal that we want to be successful, not just individually together. So I think that'll take us a long way.
Keanu, man, this has been great. It's been a lot of fun to chop it up. I know you've got to, you know, got to get to class and got to take care of your business. Got to be a pro.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll cut it off here. And but again, like I said, I think there's a lot of excitement to see you and to see the Runnin Utes in action this year. So excited to keep tabs on you this year, and best of luck moving forward. We'll keep a close eye on you and the program, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.